super cold, which is refreshing. But ooh, I was so cold. I feel like I was drinking ice. Which there is ice in here, but like literally, I feel like I like inhaled how cold it was. But hi everybody, welcome in. We're gonna get started for today. Let me fix my lighting. I should have did this before, but now I'm looking at myself. I got oil on my face, so looking extra oily. But happy Sunday, everybody. And if you are celebrating, because everybody has a mother, but well, I mean, I guess if you are celebrating today, be safe out here in these streets. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out in the chat and all the mothers out in the world. And if you are missing your mother today, just know that your mother doesn't have to be here for you to celebrate her. So I hope that this is not a taxing day for you. But if you are celebrating with your mother, tell them I said Happy Mother's Day. Or if you are a mother, Happy Mother's Day. But we're going to be talking about today what is going on inside the body when it comes to, as a woman, feeling like your body is falling apart and why it's feeling like it's falling apart, and understanding why there are so many high-functioning women, high-achieving women dealing with the same issue, and it's usually because we need to cleanse. This scarf is not on tight enough because that front. Oh, I just literally did because I need it to be like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little loose. That's gonna bother me. So hold on, let me tighten this. But if you are a high-functioning, high-achieving woman and you look like your life is all together, but you're trying to figure out why in the world you don't feel like your life is together, I want you to understand that we are trained in society to be exhausted, to be bloated, to be sitting here irritated, dealing with PMS, sitting here out of sync with your body. And this is how we live our life, because this is what we're taught from a very young age. We're taught to sit here and not realize that when your body is showing you signs of fatigue, or when your body is sitting here dealing with hormonal imbalances, that's a problem that we should deal with in firsthand, rather we put it on the back burner, because that's what we're taught, because we have to make it to the next day for us to be able to do work. We have to make it to the next day to take care of our children or our family, or etc. And so we feel like from the inside out that our body is attacking us and it's not working with us. And a lot of women have labeled themselves as lazy or broken, or they're feeling like they're crazy, or you're overloaded. So then now you're sitting here talking about how you're just so overwhelmed that you can't get your life together, and you're not realizing majority of the time is because you have silent symptoms that are happening and very loud symptoms, but you are ignoring them, and your body is slowing down each function every single day because it cannot keep up with the task. It cannot keep up with the stress that you are putting it under. And so instead of you dealing with the fatigue and the cravings and the bloating and the mood swings or the brain fog, you sit here and think this is a part of being a woman. But this is not random. Your body is actually asking you for help, and it's begging for you to release these things. But instead of you releasing them, you try another diet. You're sitting here trying to take another supplement. You're like, oh, well, maybe this supplement will help because the other one didn't. Or you're like, you know what? I'm just going to take sea moss. This is going to fix everything that's going on with my life. Or I'm going to sit here and I'm going to take an Advil or a Aleve because I'm feeling in pain and I have to make it to the next day. And we're not realizing, instead of you doing another diet or taking another supplement, let's address the root cause of the issue. What is the hidden crisis that we are dealing with? And the hidden crisis for a lot of women are the fact that we sit here and we wake up tired. We sit here and we get all the rest that we should possibly need inside the body, right? And then you're sitting here and you're trying to figure out why in the world you're so tired all the time, so you need coffee midday. Or you're sitting here and you're like, you know what, I'm bloated, and every time I eat I get bloated, so this is just a part of me eating. At least I'm going to be able to enjoy what I'm eating rather than having to sit here and calorie count and restrict, right? And you're every single day dreading the day because you're waking up tired. You're always hungry. You're going through this process because you want to lose weight, but then you're having to starve yourself. And you're going back and forth between habits because you're just trying to figure out how to make it to the next day, but you want to achieve your goal of being healthy. There are so many women that perform well in their jobs. They perform well with their relationships and at home and in general, but they don't perform well for themselves when it comes to their health. And that's because we are taught how to be a good worker. We're taught how to be a good woman for a man, or we're taught how to be a great parent, a great mother, right? But we are not taught how to naturally take care of our body with the holistic methods, with natural healing, and actually allowing our body to do its natural design. Instead of you sitting here pouring yourself a coffee because you're tired, or sitting here skipping breakfast because you're like, oh, I ate a whole lot last night, let me skip breakfast because then I'm going to be in my calorie deficit if I eat this at lunchtime, or I don't eat lunch and I don't eat breakfast, but I'm going to eat dinner. Stop telling yourself that this is healthy, because a lot of women don't realize when you skip meals intentionally, you intentionally skip meals but unintentionally have the habits of being unhealthy. A lot of you don't realize this puts you in an insulin resistant state. When you are skipping meals and you're not getting actual nutrition from your food, do you realize this causes insulin resistance? Because your body already is in a fight or flight mode, a panic mode, and then you're skipping the meals that it needs to maybe actually get some nutrients. And so you're sitting here like, well, I'm going to skip this because I'm going to be in my calorie deficit. So I know if I'm going to skip this, this is fasting. This is not healthy fasting. But in return, actually, this is how you throw your body off further, and then you're sitting there trying to figure out why all of a sudden you're having all these repercussions and all these backlashes. Don't sit here and think that, okay, midday, I've had a snack, I've had my meal, I have the itis, I just need a nap because I'm tired. You having the itis is also a sign of your blood sugar being spiked. Blood sugar spikes is a hormonal imbalance. And so we're sitting here and we're wondering why there are millions of people dealing with diabetes. There are millions of women dealing with hormonal imbalances. So now they have fibroids, now they have cysts, now you're sitting here having to have a surgery, or you think birth control is your solution. Your hormones are begging for your relief by the foods that you eat, because food is medicine. But too many people sit here and they put their job above themselves, they put their family above themselves, they put their kids above themselves. And it's okay for you to care for both. We are so misled into thinking that we cannot take care of ourselves and take care of others because that's selfish. That's not selfish. It is selfish for you to sit here and believe that your body is supposed to give back to you, but you do nothing for it. That's selfish. What really should be happening when it comes to us as women is us taking care of ourselves so that we can be better and present for other people, so we can be better and present for our job, so we don't have to just try to make it by and to manage, but actually enjoy the life that we're living and being like, you know what, my body is giving back to me. But instead, you are clogged with toxins because you eat a whole bunch of processed foods. You're eating inflammatory meat, inflammatory dairy. You're sitting here drinking a bunch of alcohol and caffeine. And then you're sitting here trying to figure out why all of a sudden your skin is breaking out and you're not feeling good. And you're using synthetic products. You're using fragrances. It cannot support your body in metabolizing estrogen, but instead it's holding on to these estrogens because the toxin, the detoxification process that's happening in your liver cannot detoxify and release the excess estrogen. So guess what happens? You become estrogen dominant. And when you don't detox regularly, you do realize, and properly, not only is your gut going to be off, so then now your brain is going to be off. Your digestive tract is not going to work the way that it should be, and it needs to be. And so then there are going to be a bunch of leaks happening inside of your body. Leaky gut, leaky liver. So now you have fatty liver disease. Now it's leaking into your bloodstream. So now your kidneys are working overtime and your kidneys are not filtering your blood. And then you're trying to figure out what is happening with all of this, and then your pancreas is working overtime because every single time you eat carbs or inflammatory sugar, it's having to compensate by making more natural insulin to get rid of the non-natural toxic insulin that you have put inside of your body, which causes an insulin resistant state. Because when you're using the natural insulin that comes from the body that the pancreas produces, it's going to convert it into energy. But when you're not using these things, you're not getting any energy. So this is the reason why you can sit there and sleep for 10 hours and then you're trying to figure out how you wake up and you're just so tired still. You didn't stabilize your blood sugar, so the pancreas was working overnight all night long. And so the same thing is happening with the kidneys, same thing is happening with the liver, same thing is happening with your gut. Because just because you go to sleep to rest does not mean that your body internally is resting. We do know that the brain stays on. The brain is always on, because if the brain is not on, you are not alive. But think about the fact that your body, your organs specifically, need a resting and resetting period. Even though they're not turning themselves off, they need a reset. It's just like how when you turn your TV off or you unplug something like your computer and you let it reset, or your Wi-Fi box and you let it reset. Your body's supposed to be doing that throughout the night. It's supposed to be unplugging from the day-to-day, flushing and resetting and getting through the toxins and making sure that you're healthy. It's supposed to sit there and be able to flow and to digest and to be comfortable to wake up and have energy tomorrow. But instead, majority of you are trying to stay alive during the night because your body's like, ooh, she ate way too many toxins. I'm going to have to work extra hard tonight because if not, we might unalive because our blood sugar is too high. All of these toxins in the liver is leading you to being estrogen dominant, having weight gain and weight fluctuation that is stubborn and you can't get rid of, having the issues of PMS, dealing with fibroids, painful periods, acne, and low energy. These are all coming from the fact that you are overloaded with toxins. This isn't a separate issue that just happens because, oh, I eat processed foods, but it's a full breakdown of each one of your systems that is happening. This scarf is going to have to get fixed because it's bothering the back of my head, but we're just going to leave it here for now. So, think about the fact that your gut is one of the root causes of the problems when it comes to your mental clarity, when it comes to your skin being clear, as well as the fact that your hormones being balanced. Because we talked about how the liver throws off the hormones and it can cause excess estrogen, but you do realize that your gut is over 70% of your immune system. It's also tied directly to your brain. Your brain is where you get anxious. Your brain is where you sit here and you have depression episodes. Your brain is where you start to have panic attacks. Your brain is where you're supposed to be balanced. But when you are not balanced in the brain, this little curve is bothering me. When you are not balanced in the brain, you do understand that that is going to cause more issues down the line that you're sitting here having to face when it comes to you being stable, when it comes to your mental states. And we wonder why there are so many people out here that are depressed. We wonder why there's so many people dealing with the same issue of being anxious and having anxiety or dealing with panic attacks. Majority of these people are dealing with a leaky gut, a gut-related issue, IBS. That is more than just a physical issue, but it's also an energetic issue. And we love to sit here and talk about energies when it comes to positive energy or manifesting. But we don't talk about how much damage you're doing inside of your gut when it comes to the energy that you put inside of your gut because of the foods that you consume. Because when you're consuming a bunch of dead, toxic foods, dead animals, dead things, you are going to be toxic on the inside. That is energetically going to make you sick. And so you have to realize that women's standard American diet, this sad diet that we are programmed into, is causing you to have the instability inside of your body of inflammation. Inflammation causes all diseases. So when you're sitting here and you think that, oh, I'm going to do another diet. I'm going to do keto. I'm going to do paleo. I'm going to do Weight Watchers, and this is going to solve all my problems. But you're doing this starvation diet, this calorie counting diet, and you believe that this is the way for you to be able to cleanse your body and to detox. I was talking to somebody who is still in the same mindset of thinking diet culture works and I'm going to do this for a minute. And honestly, I don't entertain the conversation long as soon as they start talking about the fact that, oh, I can't eat this because it's too much starch in this plant-based lifestyle. It's too much this in this plant-based food, rather. Let me say that. And so then you bring up, okay, well, what do you eat outside of you eating this because this plant-based protein has too much starch for you? And then you're talking about, well, you eat meats, you're consuming dairy still. You're not cleansing and detoxing the way that your body needs to, but you're cleansing and detoxing the way that your brain has processed what is normal and what is healthy. You're still following the standard American diet, which is AKA sad, and you are going to continue going down the path of diet culture. And so you have to realize that in order for you to restore the balance that you are looking for and to release what is blocking you, you have to stop clogging your energy, clogging your hormones, and clogging your digestive tract. But in order for you to do that, you have to be flushing. And you have to be using food as your medicine, not just a way for you to look good and lose 5 to 10 pounds, not just a way for you to be able to look better for your trip, not just a way for you to get clear skin right here and right now because your birthday is coming. Understand how each of these systems, when it comes to your liver, your pancreas, your kidney, and your gut, are all ways for you to absorb nutrients, protect yourself immune-wise, help your blood sugar be regulated, and help your hormones to be balanced so that they are filtering and they're being supported every single day. Thank you guys for the likes. I really appreciate it. When you do a real cleanse, and not from diet culture, but an actual cleanse that is supposed to happen every single month as a woman, because there are times you should be syncing with your cycle if you're not. There are times for you to cleanse. There are times you're going to need more food. There are times that it's really okay for you to fast because you're probably not going to be craving food anyway. You are going to restore the flow that is happening inside of your body, and you're going to give your body a final chance to stop playing this cat and mouse game of catch up, but actually restore the healing balance that you are looking for and that you need. But you have to give it time to repair and reset itself through the foods that you eat and giving it actual nutrients. When you're not giving the body nutrients, it cannot repair itself. When you're blocking your healing, it cannot reset itself. It's not possible. And so who people, when they talk about, well, I cut out meat, but I'm still eating eggs, or I cut out dairy, but I still eat meat, you're still blocking the system. You're blocking it and then releasing it. You're blocking it and then releasing it. Guess what that is? Cat and mouse. You're playing a catch-up game. I'm always going to be eating what I want, but I'm always having to catch up to keep my health in check. But that's not going to keep your health in check. It's going to cause you to have an imbalance, which is going to cause inflammation. Because that back and forth between your body cannot recognize that as norm. Because your body does not want that. Your brain subconsciously has been trained to want that, but your body internally does not want that. And how I know this is because I have been plant-based for 4.5 years. And I used to do all of these habits. I talk to women who still do these habits or are trying to get away from them because they realize now they're in their 40s and their 50s and they're dealing with the issue of having the issue of premenopause, hormonal imbalances, fibroids, cysts, and etc. And they're seeing that their hormones have been out of whack for quite a while. And now they're understanding that the gut is full of crap, inflammation, and they're struggling internally because you think that you have to be sick in order for you to do something to cleanse, to reset, or you have to be sitting here suffering in order for you to cleanse or to reset. And then when you are suffering and it's time for you to do a cleanse or a reset, you think, okay, it's time for me to pop a pill, have a surgery, because this is what I'm taught to do. Or my doctor told me that it's never going to be able to be healed, but instead just take this prescription for the rest of your life. There are many women who talk about the fact that they heal themselves from fibroids and cysts, but they tell you to go get a surgery. They didn't get a surgery. There are people who healed themselves from cancer without doing chemo, without doing radiation. And you know what all of them have in common? They stop eating these foods that are in the category of standard American diets. And they start actually eating real foods that come from the earth, and their body resets and heals itself. So I don't argue with people who still believe that they can eat meat, they can eat dairy, they eat eggs still, they eat processed snacks still, and as long as they're doing a diet that they're healthy. Because these same people had the same kind of lifestyle thinking that this is going to work, and guess where it led them? Cancer, chronic disease and illness, inflammation. So there is no doing the same thing and getting a different result. It's not possible. You have to completely release that imbalance that is happening in this lifestyle that you are currently living in and start to question everything you have been taught. Because when you're not questioning what you were taught by the people who still poison you to this day and let you know that they poison you, then you are still in the programming. And there is no help for you until you are finally ready to open your eyes and to recognize the patterns of how they're poisoning you and how they keep making generations that don't know how to take care of their body. Generations of little girls who are now getting diagnosed with insulin resistance at a very, very young age. They are diagnosing children and teens more than ever with insulin resistance. And you know why? Because we have no stabilizers in our food. They give us fake fiber in our food. And they don't teach these young girls, when you start your cycle, you're supposed to be cycle syncing. You're supposed to be eating according to your cycle, not eating according to your cravings. Because when you actually start to eat the foods that you were supposed to eat during the phases of your cycle, you're subconsciously going to start craving the foods that help your body along, instead of eating the foods that make you cramp more, instead of eating the foods that make you more inflamed, instead of the foods that have made you sick. So now you're suffering and cramping throughout your whole entire cycle. We have made it normal to have painful cycles, but it's not normal. Painful periods, to be specific, because your whole cycle is 28 days, not just the time that you're bleeding. But we have made it normal to be sitting here thinking that it's okay for us to go through these things of PMSing and having pain as long as I have a pain pill, right? Your brain fog isn't just part of aging. It's actually not normal, but instead a realization that your body is not getting nutrients. So now your brain is breaking itself down. The same thing with you sitting here dealing with dehydration, because a lot of people are not realizing when you have dehydration, you do realize that the membranes, the stem cells, and all of the nerve endings that are attached from your brain to your spinal cord and etc., they start to thin out because it needs lubrication so that everything can be flowing and working. But when it's working overtime, think about how gears grind together when they have no oil, and over time it's going to affect the gears, or how your tires wear down after so long and how they start to become bald. That's what you're doing to your nerve endings because you're not hydrated on a cellular level. And there are so many people who are dealing with chronic headaches. There are so many people that are dealing with chronic issues because of a lack of hydration on a cellular level, as well as oxygen. Because these two things on a cellular level keeps you out of a cancerous state. Cancer cannot thrive in this space. But when you have a lack of oxygen, when you have a lack of hydration on a cellular level, cancer is thriving inside of you, and it's going, oh, this is fun. It's fun here because you're going to keep feeding me. It's just like when you have parasites and you're sitting here thinking that you're just having cravings and mood swings, but in reality, it's the parasites speaking for you. It's the parasites being real loud to let you know, hey, you've thrown off your body and I'm staying here to stay. And now I have attached myself so deep that I can control your cravings. So yes, you're going to crave sugar. Yes, you're going to be craving chocolate all the time. Yes, you're going to want carbs all the time, and not the healthy carbs that you use stabilizers with, but the unhealthy carbs that cause insulin resistance. And then you're going to be feeling the itis, and then you're going to be craving more sugar because you have thrown off your body's balance. And so now it's a full cycle of just doing the same thing and feeding these parasites and making them more prominent and then making them have more babies. Your body is not whispering at this point. When you're dealing with all of these issues, it's your body internally screaming. And when it stops screaming, that's when you develop a disease. When it's all of a sudden where you're like, oh, my body's been going through this, and then all of a sudden you feel like, it's been a little too good to be true. More likely than not, when you have not changed anything going on, you're probably developed a disease or an illness and you just haven't pinpointed it yet because you've ignored the signs that your body's been giving you for so long. Especially if you take pain prescriptions, it's going to silence itself at some point. Because think about how after so long of your child calling your name, if you have children or if you work with kids, how the child calls your name and calls your name and calls your name. And you know, if you just stop listening to them and let them call your name after about 5 minutes, they'll go, oh, okay, they're not listening to me. And then they'll just move on about their business. That's what your body is doing. It's been calling your name and calling your name. But instead it's been doing it for 20 plus years. And now it's like, oh, so she's not listening anymore. I've given her this sign. I've given her this sign. She has literally gone through all of these issues. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm just going to let the disease thrive. And then you're wondering why all of a sudden you woke up and you're in the hospital. And it's not all of a sudden that this issue has spawned, but all of a sudden now your body has completely shut down. That's the difference. When you are getting the warning signs, these are warning signs to let you know that your organs are slowly breaking down. Your body is breaking down. Your body is letting you know you're unaliving slowly. And not in this just the, oh, I'm aging, this is a part of life. But your body is breaking down to the point where coroners have even talked about this. Your organs are working overtime. Coroners have done autopsies on bodies, and they have seen that when your organs are working overtime every single day, they age 3 times your actual age. They're doing autopsies on bodies, and they're seeing that their internal organs are 3 times their actual outside age. So this is what you're doing to your body when you are ignoring these signs, and it's giving you signs for years, and you have been fight or flight mode for years. Because you have not changed. You believe in standard American diet, and it's made by the same people who poison you, by the same companies that own everything. When you think that it has to be extreme for you to go plant-based, or it has to be extreme for you to change your health, you have been misled, and you're believing in the misconception, because it's not extreme. It starts with you learning the root cause and starting to implement little changes as you go along. Small changes go a long way, because think about how a baby starts to crawl, right? A baby starts to crawl. Then the baby's going to start standing. Or the baby's going to start standing and then it's going to start crawling. And then the baby's going to start walking eventually. These are small steps. Some babies do just get up and they start running. Majority of the time, there's signs, there's processes beforehand. They didn't just start one day, just woke up and you know what? I can lift my head up and I'm going to start running. There are little small changes, little small habits that they start doing that teaches them, oh, my body can run. So why do you think that before you can even crawl that you're going to start sprinting? Because that's how y'all have the mindset of, is that, okay, I'm going to do this because I want to be healthy. And so instead of me deteriorating my body and allowing my, and keeping my body in this state, I'm going to flip a switch. Tomorrow, all fruits and vegetables. When you've been eating this way for 20 plus years and you think tomorrow you're going to want all fruits and vegetables, and your brain subconsciously is just going to want to eat all fruits and vegetables. You let your emotions lead you more than the actual realization of knowledge to really comprehend that toxins don't just impact your body, but they clutter your mind, your emotions, and your intuition. So a lot of y'all's discernment is thrown off because of the foods that you eat, the products that you use. If you take birth control, I'm going to burst this bubble for you because, first of all, there's natural birth control. So if you don't want kids, it's not like that you have to take birth control for you to not have children. And I have a friend who is married. I'm not married, but I have a friend who is married and she does not have any kids. And it's not because she doesn't, it's not just because she's not trying to, I mean, wait, let me say that. I was going to say that backwards. She doesn't have, it's not because she's not active. That's all I'm saying. Let me not get in her business. But the point is that she has kids. She doesn't have kids on purpose. She uses natural things. She doesn't take birth control. You have to realize that you have been trained to believe that this birth control is what you need for you to not have kids or you to balance your hormones or et cetera, right? But a lot of y'all are with partners right now and y'all are on birth control. I'm going to let you know now, if you get off of your birth control, you're probably not going to want the same partner anymore. And it's not because that person is wrong or you're wrong for each other, but rather it's the fact that when you are on birth control, it throws off your chemical chemistry. Not only does it throw off your chemical chemistry when it comes to your brain, your organs, but it also throws off your actual natural essence. So you're going to attract something that you normally wouldn't attract when you're on these chemicals. And so this is what I mean by it's deeper than just, oh, my body is feeling this way. It's energetics. And y'all aren't realizing these energetics. You aren't putting two and two together about these energetics. So when you're sitting here and you're off your birth control for a week or two because maybe you skipped it or maybe you ran out and you're trying to figure out why you and your partner are just really butting heads and you're thinking, oh, it's because I'm PMSing. You're not PMSing, honey. Your hormones are starting to finally get back to the space of trying to balance themselves. And I'm saying this as somebody who took birth control for an entire year. I took birth control for an entire year. I was angry. I was bloated. My doctor, even at one point when I had gone to her to get a checkup to be like, there's something wrong, my doctor literally looked at me and said, it's because you're full of crap. And I'm like, what do you mean? She said, yeah, you need an ultrasound. She said, literally, I think you're full of crap. She said, I have gained weight. I'm bloated. I don't feel good. I'm not looking good. Like, I'm literally looking sick. And this has been 2 weeks. And so she sat there and she said, yeah, it's because you're full of crap. After doing your research and looking at your studies, looking at your ultrasound, you're full of crap. That's what happens when you're on birth control. So for the women that sit there and they talk about how they gained so much weight and they were trying to figure out why they gained weight and they're trying to figure out what to do and to switch their birth control, honey, it's not the fact that you need to switch your birth control or change the prescription. It's the fact that that's what it does to your body. Just because you just figured out which one doesn't cause all these issues does not mean, or not cause all these issues, but rather cause issues where you can recognize them, does not mean it's not throwing off your body internally. So instead of you feeling disconnected, instead of you feeling numb, instead of you feeling like you're emotionally overwhelmed, start to actually get to the visualization of your shift. Your organs hold energy just like you hold on to the energy inside of your mind when you hold on to things that you're thinking about, hold on to things that have happened. Your organs do the same thing. And when you are sitting here in a stressed out state and you don't deal with it in a natural way, you don't deal with it in a healthy way rather, but instead you eat your emotions or you use other things to deal with your emotions that I'm not going to mention, but you know what I'm talking about. That's being held on to. Your gut is inflamed. And when your gut is inflamed, your serotonin is going to drop. When you are inflamed overall and your gut is off, your brain is going to be off. You do realize that you're not going to be producing dopamine in the correct, healthy way. So then now you're going to have to eat to get your dopamine. And you know what that's called? Emotional eating. So this is why cleansing and detoxing, resetting, and eating to actually help your health isn't just a physical thing, but it's actually emotional and spiritual. It's the way that you actually get back to your divine feminine energy that you were looking for. And I have a blueprint to help you be able to do that. But it's a matter of, do you want that? Do you want to heal? Do you want to actually be supported? Because a lot of people say they want it, but they don't do anything about it. They get all the information in the world and they don't do anything about it. Imagine you waking up and actually having energy. Imagine waking up and you actually feel like you're on point, that you're sharp, that you actually are calm, that you actually enjoy having a day start, and that your cravings aren't just something that rule you, but actually are something that fuel the body and you enjoy the food that you're eating. Because that's what happens when you actually start syncing with your cycle and eating for what your body needs. Your brain actually starts to actually have clarity again. You feel like you're actually yourself again. And this is what the transformation that I give to the people who work with me. All of the women that come work with me, all the women that are bloated, that are burnt out, that are breaking down slowly. After them working with me, getting a cleanse, getting a detox, working in my program, they feel this. They feel aligned. They understand how they've been imbalanced. Because so many women are dealing with the same issue of being imbalanced. Working 40 plus hours a week, and then you go home, you take care of everybody else, and you have little time for yourself. But it does not take hours on end for you to take care of yourself. I told you, it takes small little changes and small little steps towards your health. This is how you actually start to see your body give back to you, by giving that balance back. So if you were sitting here and you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I get to this? I really want this, and I'm ready to actually start being the high-performing woman when it comes to our health, because I'm a high-performing woman in every other aspect except for when it comes to me being healthy, and you are looking for the nourishment and you are looking for support, I have the cleansing code for you that is linked in my bio. My cleansing code is a bundle of 7 books. One is a template guide. The rest of them are ebooks that is going to help you get a full body detox from anti-inflammatory, microplastics, just breaking down eating a rainbow plate, and so much more, because it's 6 books, 7 total with the templates. And the templates are going to walk you through not only getting in the energy and the mindset, but overall understanding how you're supposed to do this, especially when it comes to fasting, because too many of you are not doing fasts correctly. And so you get all the repercussions and all the terrible side effects. And you shouldn't be getting side effects, because you should be working your way up to fasting, to cleansing, okay? So if you were looking for that and you want that full support, the link is in my bio. And if you were interested in getting into my program and learning more about the program, that program is a step-by-step guide, and it gives you also accountability, and you work with me one-on-one with learning how to live a plant-based lifestyle, with making your own plant-based meals, understanding how you make your own non-toxic products, getting to the actual natural medicine that you're looking for. And then each one has a workshop for you to be able to make these things. So we're going to have workshops where we're going to make our own natural toothpaste, our own natural mouthwash. We're going to have workshops doing our body wash and our laundry detergent, and etc. And then if you are one of the people who are like, you know what, I want to buy it rather than make it, I have a template that I'm going to send you that breaks down, okay, these are the products that you can use. These are the companies that aren't going to poison you. And these are the ones that I use and that I love. Thank you for the follows, and thank you for the heart, me, Tony. So before I hop off and I enjoy my Sunday, what questions do you guys have for me? Drop your questions down below. That cleanse is $65. You can get it with Klarna, Affirm, or Afterpay. And my program, you can get it with Klarna, Affirm, or Afterpay as well. The first 3 people to sign up for that get it at a 3-figure price. Everything after that will be a 4-figure price. What questions do you guys have for me? Hi, Tony. Before I hop off, what questions? And if you have no questions, I'm glad that I covered everything and I made you feel very comfortable in this space. I'm gonna give y'all about 1 more minute. I'm gonna see if y'all have any questions, and if not, I'm going to hop off. It's only 11. I feel like I just woke up so early compared to like the last couple of days, and so I'm up. I'm ready for things to be popping, and I'm like, oh wait, it's still early. Just kidding. No questions? No questions at all? If you have not subscribed to YouTube, or you missed out on this live, it will be posted on YouTube this week probably. I think I'm caught up with videos, so I think it'll be posted this week. I think I should have a video that is actually uploading right now, or trying to be uploaded. So I'm not seeing any questions. If you have any questions and you are not on my YouTube, it's linked in my bio. You can go subscribe. Hope you guys have a great rest of y'all's day. Happy Mother's Day for all.